Among the millions of faces you pass every day, have you ever wondered, what if some of them aren't quite human? What if the truth has been hiding in plain sight all along? What if the person sitting next to you on the bus, the barista who makes your coffee, or even your neighbor, came from somewhere far beyond the stars? Our planet, a tiny blue marble in an infinite ocean of stars. For decades, we've looked up wondering if we're alone. But what if the real question is, are we alone down here? This is a story that begins in the most ordinary places, where everything seems normal, safe, and familiar. But sometimes, the most extraordinary secrets are hidden behind the most ordinary facades. Our journey begins now. Imagine if aliens arrived not with laser weapons and massive ships, but with something far more cunning, the ability to blend in perfectly. They would study us first, learning our behaviors, our weaknesses, our fears. They would infiltrate our systems, accessing our secrets, our technology, our most protected information. Late at night, when buildings stand empty, they would work in silence, undetected and unknown. By day, they would wear our clothes, speak our languages, and walk among us as if they belonged here. Their movements would be almost perfect. Almost. But not quite human. How many could there be? Dozens? Hundreds? Thousands walking through our cities, shopping in our stores, riding our trains? They could be anywhere. Even in our homes, sitting across the dinner table, hiding behind familiar faces. And the terrifying part? We might never know. We might look them in the eye and see nothing wrong. Imagine them in positions of trust. Doctors who know our biology intimately, learning our physical weaknesses. Teachers shaping young minds, influencing the next generation, slowly changing how we think. Leaders making decisions that affect millions, policies that could slowly reshape our entire society without us realizing. They could control our media, deciding what information we receive, what truths are told, and what secrets remain hidden. We would become paranoid, suspicious of our neighbors, questioning everyone around us. Trust would crumble. We would build more cameras, more security, more ways to watch each other, turning our world into a prison of our own making. Communities would fracture. Friends would turn on friends. The fear of the unknown would divide us. Our children would grow up in a world where they're taught to fear difference, to suspect anyone who seems unusual. Every strange occurrence would become evidence. Every unexplained event would fuel our worst fears. We would lose our innocence, our sense of safety. The world would become a darker, colder place. We would retreat into our homes, lock our doors, and hide from shadows that may or may not be real. In this dark scenario, fear would change everything about how we live. We would fortify our lives, building walls both physical and emotional. Panic would drive us to hoard resources, to think only of ourselves and our immediate families. Movement would be restricted. Freedom would become a memory. Control would replace liberty. We would be scanned, tracked, documented at every turn, our privacy sacrificed for the illusion of safety. Some would dedicate their lives to exposing the truth, descending into obsession, losing themselves in endless investigation. Others would search for answers in every book, every article, every whisper of information. Relationships would suffer. Love and friendship would be tested by suspicion and doubt. Marriages would end, not from lack of love, but from inability to trust that the person you married is still that same person. Childhood would be different. Play would be supervised, friendships monitored, spontaneity eliminated in the name of protection. Schools would teach suspicion alongside science, fear alongside facts. Workplaces would demand conformity. Anyone who stood out, who thought differently, would be suspect. Public spaces would empty. The joy of community gatherings would fade into memory. Media would feed our fears, turning every unknown into a threat, every mystery into a nightmare. We would become a world of individuals, each alone, each afraid, each suspicious of everyone else. Local businesses would fail as people stopped gathering, stopped trusting, stopped living. Mental health would deteriorate. Anxiety, depression, paranoia would become epidemics of their own. Our healthcare systems would buckle under the weight of collective trauma and fear-induced illness. The world would still be beautiful, but we would have lost our ability to see it, trapped in our own fears. This is the dark path fear could take us down. But what if we've been asking the wrong questions all along? What if the story doesn't have to be dark? What if we've been so focused on our fears that we've missed something important? What if aliens among us isn't something to fear, but something to celebrate? Let's explore a different possibility. A brighter future. One built on curiosity instead of fear. Imagine if aliens came here not to conquer, but to help. With technology beyond our understanding, they could cure diseases we thought incurable. Cancer, heart disease, genetic disorders, challenges that have plagued humanity for generations could finally meet their match. Children would get second chances. Families would be made whole again. Hope would replace despair. In education, they could share knowledge that would leap us forward centuries in understanding. The secrets of the universe, the nature of consciousness, the mysteries of quantum mechanics, all could be taught to those eager to learn. A new generation would grow up with expanded horizons, knowing that the impossible is simply the not yet achieved. They could share clean energy technology, helping us heal our wounded planet before it's too late. Our oceans could be cleaned, our forests restored, our air made pure again. The Earth could become the paradise it was meant to be, preserved for all future generations. Rather than hiding, imagine if they worked alongside us openly, as partners in building a better world. We would learn that different doesn't mean dangerous. It means new perspectives, new ideas, new possibilities. Imagine the breakthroughs we could achieve together. Problems that seemed insurmountable would crumble before our combined efforts. Our cultures would blend and grow richer. Art, music, food, stories, all would be enhanced by sharing between worlds. Our children would grow up knowing that friendship has no boundaries, that kindness speaks every language. We would learn from each other. Our elders' wisdom combined with their advanced knowledge would create understanding beyond measure. They could help us reach the stars, showing us that Earth is not our prison but our cradle, preparing us for the cosmos beyond. Together, we would become an interstellar species, ready to take our place among the civilizations of the galaxy. Universities would overflow with students eager to learn about worlds beyond our own, cultures spanning galaxies. We would choose understanding over fear, curiosity over suspicion, unity over division. Our history books would tell not of invasion and conflict, but of the day we learned we were never alone, and found friends in the cosmos. Medicine would be revolutionized. Hospitals would become places of genuine healing, where no disease is beyond treatment. Those confined to wheelchairs would walk. Those who had lost hope would find it renewed. Scientific progress would accelerate. Questions that puzzled us for centuries would find answers. Our cities would transform into living ecosystems, where technology and nature exist in perfect balance. The children of this new era would inherit a world better than we found it, filled with promise and possibility. Communication would transcend species. Every word, every idea could be shared perfectly, eliminating misunderstanding. Art would expand beyond anything we could imagine. Beauty from 1,000 worlds would inspire us to new creative heights. Music would become truly universal. The mathematics of harmony would bridge any divide. In schools, children would learn that the best solutions come from combining different ways of thinking. Trade would flourish. New materials, new foods, new technologies would make life richer for everyone. Families would expand beyond blood. The dinner table would welcome friends from across the stars. Love would know no boundaries. Hearts would recognize hearts, regardless of where they came from. Sports would bring us together. Competition would be celebration, rivalry would build friendship. In times of crisis, we would stand together. Heroes would be recognized not by where they're from, but by what they do. Together, we would plant flags on distant worlds, not as conquerors, but as explorers united in wonder. Looking back at Earth from the stars, we would see what we accomplished together. A healed world, a hopeful future. And we would tell stories to our grandchildren of the day everything changed, when we learned that family is bigger than we ever imagined. So which story becomes our reality? The path of fear, or the path of hope? The truth is, if aliens are among us, we get to decide how that story unfolds. We can choose to greet the unknown with suspicion, or with the curiosity that has driven humanity's greatest achievements. We can choose to see difference as threat, or as opportunity to grow, to learn, to become more than we are. The choice we make today shapes the world our children will inherit tomorrow. Will we lock our doors in fear? Or open them in friendship? What if aliens are already among us? Perhaps the real question is, are we ready to be neighbors to the universe? The answer is up to us.